In 2015, former NRL West Tigers player Matt Lodge was arrested at gunpoint and charged with assault, criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, criminal trespass and menacing while on a post-season trip to New York. Lodge was drunkenly walking the streets of Manhattan when he came across two women, German tourist Carolyn De Keyser and her roommate. Lodge approached and physically grabbed De Keyser, saying he was going to bring her back to Australia. After saying no, Lodge then threatened De Keyser by saying, "Do you think you are going to die? Because tonight is the night you are going to die." After calling through to the building for help, resident Joseph Cartwright comes to the door and lets the two women inside the building. Lodge then forces his own way into the building. After a few exchanges between Lodge and Cartwright, and Lodge allegedly threatening Cartwright, Cartwright heads back to his apartment, but is then followed by Lodge. Cartwright attempts to get Lodge to leave the apartment and the building, but as Cartwright opens the building door, Lodge grabs Cartwright and puts him in a headlock. As Cartwright escapes from the headlock, Lodge repeatedly punches Cartwright. As Cartwright goes to the ground, Lodge goes into the apartment and locks himself inside and Cartwright outside, with Cartwright's wife and son locked in the bathroom.
Standing outside, pounding on the door, trying to climb through the windows to get in to try to save my family.
Inside, Ruth Fowler was trapped in the bathroom with her son Henry as Lodge launched his next attack.
Her son was cowering in the bathtub and saw a man's fist come through the bathroom door over his mom's head.
Hitting the door. He was incoherent. My husband was locked out of the apartment. I didn't know when help was going to come.
NYPD arrive to the apartment and wait outside the apartment to arrest Lodge. As police are demanding Lodge to come out, Lodge then grabs a 2-litre bottle of wine and hurls it towards police. This then causes police to enter the apartment and escort Lodge out of the building.
Our son still suffers from it greatly. He still has major trauma. Doorbell rings, he still questions what's happening. He still has night terrors.
These victims are speaking out now because they believe Matthew Lodge has tried to walk away from the damage he's done without making amends.
We've never felt a sense of remorse from him, ever. Not once.
Lodge is then taken to New York's most notorious prison, Rikers Island, where he was reportedly handcuffed to a bed. His charges are then upgraded to burglary in the first and second degree, which is defined as a person who knowingly enters or remains unlawfully in a dwelling with intent to commit a crime therein, and when in effecting entry or while in the dwelling or in immediate flight therefrom. He or another participant in the crime, 1, is armed with explosives or a deadly weapon, or 2, causes physical injury to any person who is not a participant in the crime, or 3, uses and threatens the immediate use of a dangerous instrument, or 4, displays what appears to be a pistol, revolver, rifle, shotgun, machine gun, or other firearm, except that in any prosecution under this subdivision is an affirmative defence that such pistol, revolver, rifle, shotgun, machine gun, or other firearm that was not a loaded weapon from which a shot readily capable of producing death or other serious physical injury could be discharged. Nothing contained in this subdivision shall constitute a defence to a prosecution for or preclude a conviction of burglary in the second degree, burglary in the third degree, or any other crime. Burglary in the first degree is classified as a Class B felony, which, if found guilty, can result in imprisonment from 5 to 25 years. In an interview to Yvonne Simpson on Fox League's League Life in March 2018, Lodge said he was off his head on a combination of sleeping pills and alcohol. He also stated that because of that, he doesn't remember any of the night and argues he doesn't exactly agree with the facts of the case. On October 19, 2015, 3 days after the assault, the West Tigers make the decision to terminate the contract of Matt Lodge. In a statement released by the club, Tigers CEO Justin Pascoe stated that this type of behaviour does not fit in with the culture we are building at the club, nor it is to the behavioural standards that we accept. He said, whilst our playing contract obligation to Matthew will be terminated, the club will continue to offer welfare and counselling options to Matthew to ensure he has the support he needs.
In 2016, Lodge sent a letter of apology to the Assistant District Attorney. This letter stated, "I am writing this letter to be passed on to the victims of the incident that occurred on the night of October 15th. Firstly, I want to tell them that I am deeply sorry for my actions. My conduct was unacceptable and I take full responsibility. I was highly intoxicated that night, but the events that led me to that state were immature and easily avoidable. I am embarrassed and ashamed that this incident occurred. While I cannot undo what happened, I can assure them that I will never be involved in another incident like this. While I was in New York and since my return to Australia, I have been taking my rehabilitation programs very seriously to ensure that something like this never happens again. I completed several weeks of intensive outpatient treatment in New York and a 4-week inpatient program in Australia. Since my release from the program in Australia, I am continuing with my outpatient treatment and working towards completing my community service. I cannot imagine what I put them through that night. Not a day goes by when I don't think about what I did. I remember very little from that night, but I do know right from wrong. I want to make it clear that the person who they saw and encountered on that night is not who I am when I am sober, nor who I want to be. I am truly sorry for the harm that I caused. Thank you for sending this letter to the victims. Very truly yours, Matt Lodge. Signed, Matt Lodge." In 2017, a New York judge ordered Matthew Lodge to pay the victims of his Manhattan rampage a US $1.234 million in damages. U.S. District Court Judge Kimber Wood's ruling against Lodge, in which he detailed the terror Lodge inflicted on German tourist, Manhattan couple, and their 9-year-old son, comes as the prop attempted to resurrect his NRL career. The New York law firm representing the victims vowed to recoup every cent of the judge's order despite Lodge living in Australia. Quote, "We are looking at any and every method available to us to collect on this judgment, including potentially garnishing his future wages." Renan Varghese, a senior associate at Wigdor LLP, told AAP on Thursday. Lodge was arrested at gunpoint by NYPD officers in the early hours of October 16, 2015. He was temporarily held in New York's infamous Rikers Island jail complex until he was bailed out and his then NRL club West Tigers sacked him. Lodge, 21, has been working to return to the NRL and has now returned to the NRL, playing with Queensland's second-tier club Redcliffe Dolphins, and that week receiving approval to train with the NRL's Brisbane Broncos, which he now plays in first grade every week of the 2018 season.